So I'm here with Brittany Laux, and she is a talent acquisition consultant. Brittany, will you please tell me a little bit about your background and your affiliation with both Lucas James, which is an executive search and retention firm, and also with UL Research Institute?
Absolutely. So my background is in recruiting, process outsourcing, high volume, but also corporate and niche type of recruitment, where I manage end-to-end interview and selection processes or more support depending on what the client needs are. I currently work with Lucas James Talent Partners in the executive search firm, and essentially they partner with clients in all different industries. And based on the type of team, my team is a flex team or a retained search team, will depend upon the type of needs and support that we provide for that client. UL Research Institutes is my one and only client at this time, and I assist in managing not only research scientist support, but also other amplification, communication, and shared services type of positions.
So I feel like you're a really good person to ask about the current job market. And I just want to know, what type of candidates do you tend to look for when scouting for UL Research Institute? Are you more of a scout for them, or do you just assist them in making their hiring decisions? And how do you assist them? What do you tell them to look for?
Yeah. So I would say I manage end to end interview, selection, intake process. So during the intake process, by that time, myself as well as the hiring manager has agreed upon job description. And
Mhm.
just based on the job description, we review some of the hard skills as well as the soft skills and the ideal candidate.
Mhm.
Based on that identified candidate profile that we agree upon, I use that to begin the sourcing method and then begin to conduct interviews. And just because we agreed upon a candidate profile, I also send some profiles to the manager before I decide which ones that I'm going to move forward with. And typically, if they're aligned, no problem. If there isn't, where what changes do we need to make within the description? Is this the right type of person that we're really trying to look for?
Mhm.
And then after that, we set up cadence around interview process as well as expectations for the interview. So who's going to be a part of it? How many interviews? Um, what other support team members are going to be involved? And then we also take time to debrief on feedback. So not just an email, I like this person, let's move them forward, but just really understanding where they hit the high notes, some of the concerns, what does the
Mhm.
next team need to look at, if we need to adjust anything in the process. And then once we have a finalist and extending offers, and I manage that process all the way through until it's time for their onboarding. So background screening, drug testing, all that stuff.
Mhm.
And then once they have completed onboarding, then they're a part of the employee pool, and the rest of the HR team kind of ushers them in to orientate them and move them forward with their hiring manager.
Do you have any industry specific advice for people looking to break into something similar to what UL is trying to accomplish with new and emerging technologies? Do you have any advice for people sort of looking to break into that specific job market?
Yeah, I think what stands out the most is when a person continues to learn or continues education. So opportunities around, short courses or maybe a refresher even that shows that you're looking at emergent technologies, specifically in the workplace, and how that can be applicable in the position that you're looking for. That stands out, right?
Mhm.
But also, if there's opportunities where you can shadow someone, I know that sounds kind of old school, but it still happens. If you put yourself out
Mhm.
there, there are tons of people who are willing to allow a person to kind of, see how the day to day works out based on the type of emerging technology that you're interested in. Staying abreast on the day in and day out types of conversation. So newsletters, articles, following a specific company that is creating this emergent technology. It's very useful. And managing your expectations around setting up a plan to get into that field. It doesn't take overnight, but if you have at least some steps in mind that allow you to get from point A to point B while managing the education component or the shadowing experiences or internships, and staying on top of that knowledge, I think allows you to get your foot in the door at the very least.
Thank you so much for speaking with me today. I feel like I've gained a lot of insight into what it might look like to be a talent acquisition consultant. It's really nice to have a perspective on the other end of the hiring process.
Thanks so much, Taylor.
Of course.